All right, welcome to my Craig talk. It's called Rock You Like a Leaf Hurricane. It's going to be about cred stuffing. Just pretend that the Rock You list can be used for that instead of password spraying. It's all the same, right? All basically the same. All right, so I've been told you have to have a Who Am I slide. So this was my Halloween costume from a couple years ago. I am a zombie ninja. So I was killed in battle. That's me. Otherwise, you should know who I am. So I don't think I really actually need a Who Am I slide. But there it is. I was pretty proud of this costume. All right, so what is credential stuffing? So I stole this from OWASP because they got a really good definition. But essentially, it's using stolen credentials and then going around and trying those credential pairs on different websites. So, LinkedIn gets breached. You've got your LinkedIn username, you got your LinkedIn password, and then maybe you've used the same password on Facebook or Instagram or Gmail or wherever, so you just try it on everywhere, right? So there's a nice little graphic also from OWASP because I didn't want to try and reinvent the wheel. So they've got this fictional company called acme.com, and they were breached, and then essentially you just try this password combination pair all over the place. So why does this matter? So lots and lots of people have been compromised. This was taken from 10 o'clock last night when I put this presentation together. But as of then, there were 14.98 billion owned accounts out there, 888 breaches. That's a nice round number, 888, right? It feels really good to say that. But anyway, lots and lots of password username combinations out there in the wild. So you can get them from a lot of places. So if you're a bad guy, you can get them from different Telegram channels. That seems to be one of the best places these days. So Telegram, totally legit, not bad people service, used by some legitimate people, I hear, but otherwise great place for cybercrime. Totally didn't try to arrest the guy in France or anything like that. I don't know. That's a different side story. Anyway, here are some of the most popular credential channels on Telegram. This is taken from SockRaider, who actually just had a really good blog just the other day. I got the link down there at the bottom, so if you're interested, you can go to SockRaider. They have a lot of good material out there, but these are some of the top ones. Anyone who works in threat intelligence or monitoring of dark web stuff, whether it be ZeroFox or Recorded Future or CrowdStrike, whatever company you're using, you might recognize a lot of these Telegram channels. They're really, really popular. Sometimes they're selling the passwords. Sometimes they're just dumping them. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. It's really crazy. And a lot of those are coming from information stealer malware. So Flashpoint just recently had this report that came out analyzing different things on the dark web from 2024. And they calculated somewhere in the neighborhood of 2.1 billion combinations of username and password. And when I say username and password, I mean clear text stolen by information stealing malware. So it's not encrypted, it's not hashed, nothing like that. It's just, here's the username, here's the password, you can have at it. A lot of times, those come with the domain that they came with. So for example, if they're stealing from your browser, a lot of times people have saved their credentials in their browser. They've got right there the login URL along with the username, along with the password. Sometimes they've just got username and password, in which case you just try it wherever you want, and then you maybe get in, maybe you don't. All right. So this is a meme I made. There's going to be a number of memes. I tried to keep this Naruto themed. So here is Kiba with Akamaru, and he's going to have to rename him because, god damn it, somebody found out his password. Now he has to rename his dog. All right. Here's my dogs. They're about to go camping. They don't know it because dogs don't know what the hell's happening, but they're all buckled in, ready to go, and I thought they looked cute, so I took a picture. All right, so I talked about on the dark web, there's all these passwords and stuff. You can also get them from markets and stuff like that. Russian market's a big one. There's a bunch of different places where you can buy passwords. but also like, people are just giving them out for free as well. It just kind of depends. There's lots of ways to get them. If you are in the more like security-minded side of things, not the I'm a criminal side of things, like sometimes you'll like pay a vendor to get them. So like I said, I know like Recorded Future, you can get passwords. From CrowdStrike, you can get passwords. Dehashed, I think you can still get passwords from them. Are they still around, Dehashed? I think they are. Anyway, a lot of ways you can get passwords. I assume they're probably paying bad people for these passwords and then passing it on to you for a profit. But I mean, who knows for sure? I don't know. I don't work for them. I don't know their methodology and stuff. But so say you get a whole bunch of passwords and you're like, what the hell am I supposed to do with these? So from my experience, vendors will tell you that they've got really low confidence in these passwords. But being a security guy, I'm like, well, I want to know for sure. Do I want to trust you, who's saying that all my other customers say these don't work? Or like maybe should I just try them and see if they work? Because I would rather try them and find out they don't than just take somebody else's word for it. Because I'm pretty sure most of the people that buy these don't actually do anything with them. Does anybody here buy passwords? I'm pretty sure there's a few people. I'm not a cop. I'm pretty sure there are people out here who buy passwords, to which my follow-up question would be, what the hell do you do with them? For most people, it's nothing. Like sometimes they'll just blanket reset credentials for those accounts. Some people will just be like, oh, I don't know, maybe our customers are compromised. I don't know, they're our customers. Do I care? You probably should care because they're your customers. And like customers don't know what's happening. They don't know that they have malware. So what are they going to say? They're going to say, well, my company, Acme Corp, had a breach or something because somebody knows my password and I only use it with Acme Corp. Well, it turns out no. They were downloading Naruto movies off of sketchy websites. Did you know that's actually one of the top internet searches to get malware is Naruto? Naruto episodes is one of the top places to get malware. You're looking for pirated episodes and stuff, or like spoilers, new releases, things like that. Naruto's the top search. Anyway, what are you going to do with those? Well, I just might have a ninja tool for that. So this is something kind of new to me. I've known about this tool for a while, but I've been playing with it around at work a little bit. And I think the broader community could get some use from this. It's called Selenium. Who here has heard of Selenium? Yeah, most of you should. It's really, really popular in the QA circle. So any of your QA employees at your company are probably using Selenium for something. This is right from their website. What you do with that power is entirely up to you. Well, we're going to choose to use that power to do crime. So get in. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to do a demo here. And essentially what I'm doing is I built a little just static website. It's all HTML. Everything is JavaScript. There's zero backend at all. Everything's handled in JavaScript. So if like you inspect the page, if you F12 this and hack the state of Missouri, hack my website, you'll see all the passwords and everything right there in the JavaScript. So we're gonna show you how to do this. One more meme, really quick. I don't know. Did anybody watch Naruto? So I kind of hated the Mecho Naruto arc, but it's also kind of good also. Like, I don't know, it's kind of weird. All right, so this is really simple. I've got two different scripts. We're gonna run the one, and then we'll talk about it, and then I've got one that's slowed down so you can see it a little better. I'll explain it after this. So watch this run, hopefully, in a second. There we go, okay. So I gotta log in, I got some passwords. We're testing some stuff. Some of them are succeeding. Some of them are asking for MFA. Some of them don't work. All right, so there we are, that's done. If I had a bigger monitor, I'd like split screen this so you can see it better, but there's a summary of what happened, and then we're going to talk about what happened there. So I had 10 passwords here. We got 4 successful. And then we got the rest all failed. All right, so what is this? What did I do here? All right, so this is using Selenium. Like I said, it's a framework designed originally for web testing of like applications, stuff like that. So essentially what you do is you import the Selenium drivers, you tell it what you want to use. I chose to use Firefox just because I had it installed. Whatever you use has to be installed, so whatever machine you're using to test it has to have it. So if you're using Chrome, it has to have Chrome. If you're using Firefox, it has to have Firefox, stuff like that. What else did I do here? There's a bunch of different settings you can set. So one thing I've found in practice is a lot of websites will load a whole bunch of garbage that don't actually matter. And like things like double click, Google ads tracking, like all sorts of shit. Nobody cares about any of that, and it gets in the way of everything. So if you set it to eager, that's a way to like bypass all of that. Otherwise, by default, it's gonna wait for a double click to load all the advertising or whatever else shitty tracking stuff it's gonna be doing, stuff like that. Then you feed it whatever the website is. So normally this would be your full URL right here. I'm just giving it to my local files that I've got here, but this would just be HTTPS website that you want to cred stuff right there. Generally speaking, I'm assuming you're probably going to have a whole bunch of credentials to test, right? So we got a CSV. CSV is literally just username, password combinations. If you had more information that was relevant to your testing, you could put that in there. So for example, like maybe like the logs that you've somehow acquired from someplace, hopefully legitimately, maybe you've got like tokens or something else like that in there. I don't know. You can just include that in there as well and do that as well. Let's see. And then essentially it just opens up that CSV, reads in the values, and then Selenium lets you select whatever web elements you want from essentially however you can think of. So you can do ID, you can do name, you can do query path, like any way that with like JavaScript or any other way that you're interacting with DOM elements, like Selenium can also select it in that same way. In this really simple example, I'm just using ID because it's really super simple, but you could have used anything here. So sometimes, maybe somebody doesn't put an ID on things. I don't know why you wouldn't, because most web developers I know put an ID on everything because it's just the way to do it. But if they don't, there's other ways to get around that. And then you submit it. And then you can wait and just view programmatically what the website does to your response. So in this example here, very simply just looking for certain words. So in this example, multi-factor authentication is on the MFA prompt. So if the user that I'm testing has MFA, they get prompted for MFA. And so I say, if it got the MFA screen, I probably don't know the MFA. So I will just say, hey, the password was right, but the MFA was wrong. If it goes into the welcome screen, then now we know that it worked and they don't have MFA. So whatever that account was for, I just have access now. And then if it doesn't work, you can print out that it didn't work, and now you've got that information. Does that kind of make sense? It's actually really, really simple. I'm going to run it again. I slowed it down. I just added essentially some weights and stuff so you can kind of better see exactly what this framework is doing. Just give it a moment. It's thinking about it. There it goes. All right, so as you can see, it's literally mimicking users typing things in. So like if there's some sort of protections built into the page to try to figure out like if it's a bot that's just copy pasting into it versus somebody who's typing, it can mimic that essentially exactly, so it can't tell any difference. So like sometimes people might see those logins, everybody hates them, where it doesn't let you paste in your password. So you open up your password manager, you go to log in, you try to paste it in, and it refuses to take paste. It only accepts types. So you could use this to get around that. Carol should put MFA on her account. And then in the background, I'm just printing out to the terminal here what's happening. Otherwise, like in practice, you'd probably write this out to another CSV or something so you can keep track of it all. Kind of like a set it and forget it type of a deal. We're probably almost done, but oh no, we are done. I was saying I could split the screen probably so you could see both. Then I just print out that it's done. But yeah, so that's essentially what it's doing. It's really, really simple. Something that I found is really, really helpful. Oh, it's going to start me at the beginning again. Thank you, Microsoft. All right, so anyway, they have really great documentation, can walk you through a lot of stuff. It's really, really simple to implement. I don't know, that's about all I have to say on this topic, so hopefully you liked it. Thanks for coming to my Craig Talk. Hopefully you like the Naruto memes. If you want to look at my code, I do have it on my GitHub. Like I said, I pushed it around like 10:30, 11 o'clock last night. So it is out there, so if you want to take a look at it. But I found that Selenium is really cool, really powerful tool. Like you can do a lot of stuff with it. So I don't know, someone I know might have talked about recently using it to try to secure some tickets to an event that sells out quickly. So, I mean, if you're here in Iowa, maybe that's like the Bacon Festival. I don't know, did that still sell out really fast in Iowa? I don't know, but. All right, did you have a question? So CAPTCHAs, you could probably still do something, but it's going to be harder. So I would say CAPTCHAs is probably, from my experience, the hardest thing to get around. So I mean, like you could probably have it like queue up the CAPTCHA and then you manually solve it and then wait. So like one of the things that you can do, so I just did a really simple website example here. But you can have it just sit and wait for like a certain element to appear. So if you know that what element comes after the CAPTCHA, you can actually have it wait for that element to become like clickable or accessible. So then like you could manually intervene, do the CAPTCHA, and then as soon as you do, it'll continue the rest of the script. A lot of times, CAPTCHAs sometimes don't appear until like you've maybe like screwed up once. So what I found is a good alternative is you try it. It says, oh no, that was wrong. Here's a CAPTCHA before you try again. You say, well, that's fine. I'll just close it and open up another browser and do it again. And usually the CAPTCHA is not smart enough to know that you just tried it and now you're trying it again. Sometimes you may also get rate limiting. And that's where, again, you can kind of build in weights to it and stuff like that. So if maybe you need to wait a little bit because you're getting rate limited. You can just kind of build that into your script. And especially if you have a lot, you can run like an EC2 or something like that, put it on there, set it and forget it, and then just come back later and see what your results were. Another question. Yeah, so the way Selenium works is so the question was why specify a browser as opposed to just using the default browser. So the way Selenium is designed is it wants you to say what you want to use. So when you instantiate that browser object in the code, it's looking for specifically what you want it to test with. So whatever you're testing with, you have to have it installed. So for example, I tried to do a test one time where I didn't have the browser that was in my code installed, and it just errors out until you install the browser, and that's even if you supply the driver. So for example, if you wanted to use a specific driver, you can give it that driver in the code and say like, here's the driver I want you to use. it still is going to be looking for that in your path and environment variables and stuff like that. So if you don't have it installed on that operating system, it's going to it's going to fail. All right, so Selenium versus Burp Suite. I'll be honest, I've never used Burp Suite. I just never have. I mean, maybe Burp Suite can do the same thing. I don't know, Selenium's pretty easy, so that's just what I've used, but yeah. Yeah, Selenium's free. Yeah. Burp Suite has certifications, I'm told. I have no certifications in any of this. I just had a bunch of passwords and I wanted to see if they would work. Any other questions? I did wear this shirt specifically for this talk. I hope you appreciate that. So